Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Hope you guys didn't float away in all that rain yesterday. We sure got a lot of it, didn't we? Well, last week we read about the Little Red Hen, and on Friday we read the story of the Three Little Wolves and the Big Bad Pig. So now the next fairy tale we're going to read is Cinderella. And I wonder how many of you have read this, maybe not read, but seen this movie, the Walt Disney Cinderella movie. This is the version that we're going to read today. On Wednesday, we're going to read a little different version. I'll show you that at the end of today. So this one is the Walt Disney version of Cinderella. Okay. I'm sure maybe you know the story, but let's find out how it goes. Let me get over here so that the book is here and I can read the book at the same time that you see the pictures. How's that? Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a widowed gentleman and his lovely daughter, Ella. Ella was a beautiful girl. She had golden hair and her eyes were as blue as forget-me-nots. The gentleman was kind and a devoted father, and he gave Ella everything her heart desired, but he felt she needed a mother. So he married again, choosing for his wife a woman who had two daughters. Their names were Anastasia and Drizella. And were they nice people? The stepmother and the two sisters, the two stepsisters, were they nice people? They sure were not. You can even look at her face. Look at the stepmother's face and you can see she does not look like a very nice person, and neither do the girls. The gentleman soon died. Then the stepmother's true nature was revealed. She was only interested in her mean, selfish daughters. The stepmother gave Ella a little room in the attic, old rags to wear, and all the housework to do. Soon everyone called her Cinderella, because when she cleaned the fireplaces, she was covered with cinders. Cinders are all the dust that's left from the wood, the ashes. But Cinderella had many friends. The old horse and Bruno the dog loved her. The mice loved her too. She protected them from her stepmother's nasty cat, Lucifer. Two of her favorite mice were Gus and Jacques. Cinderella was kind to everyone, even to Lucifer, but Lucifer took advantage of her kindness. There's Lucifer. He's the big black cat. Not very nice either. Lucifer liked to get Cinderella in trouble. One morning he chased Gus onto Anastasia's breakfast tray. There's Gus there. She screamed and blamed Cinderella. "Come here," the stepmother said to Cinderella. "The windows, wash them. Then scrub the terrace, sweep the halls, and of course, there's the laundry." Well, in another part of the kingdom, the king was worrying about his son. "It's high time he married and settled down," he told the Grand Duke. "But sire," said the Grand Duke, "we must be patient." "No buts about it," shouted the king. "We'll have a ball tonight, and it will be very romantic. Send out the invitations." So let's find out. I think we know what happens, don't we? Does Cinderella get invited? Or does she gets invited, but is she allowed to go? I don't know. Let's find out. When the invitation arrived, Cinderella's stepmother announced, "There's a ball in honor of the prince. Every eligible maiden is to attend." "Oh, that means I can go too," Cinderella said. "Well, I see no reason why you can't," said the stepmother, replied with a sly smile, "if you get your work done and if you can find something suitable to wear." Poor Cinderella. Cinderella had hoped to fix her old party dress, but Anastasia and Gisella wanted her to help them instead. The stepmother kept her busy, too. Cinderella worked hard all day. When she finally returned to her little attic room, it was almost time to leave for the ball, and her dress wasn't ready. Oh, poor Cinderella. How do you suppose Cinderella feels? Pretty sad, doesn't she? But the loyal mice had managed to find ribbons, sashes, ruffles, and bows. The mice had sewn them to her party dress, and it looked beautiful. The stepsisters shrieked when they saw Cinderella. "There are my ribbons! That's my sash!" They tore her dress to shreds. "Come on now, girls," said the stepmother, and they left Cinderella behind. Cinderella ran into the garden. She wept and wept. Suddenly, a hush fell over the garden, and a cloud of lights began to twinkle and glow around Cinderella's head. "Oh, come now, dry those tears," said a gentle voice. Then a small woman appeared in the cloud. "You can't go to the ball looking like that. What in the world did I do with that magic wand?" Who was that? Who was that old lady? Her fairy godmother, wasn't it? "Magic wand?" gasped Cinderella. "Then you must be—" "Oh, your fairy godmother," the woman replied, pulling her magic wand out of thin air. "The first thing you need is a pumpkin." A cloud of sparkles floated across the garden, and the pumpkin rose up and swelled into an enormous, elegant coach. The mice turned into horses, the old horse became a coachman, and Bruno became a footman. Do you remember what the fairy godmother said to make her magic wand work? Do you remember the words from the movie? Bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. Bibbidi, bobbidi, boo. "Well, hop in, my dear," said the woman. But my dress," said Cinderella. The fairy godmother looked at it. "Oh, good heavens!" And with a wave of her wand, and help me say the words, bibbidi, bobbidi, boo, she turned the rags into an exquisite gown. On Cinderella's feet were tiny glass slippers. Let me pull into the light a little bit. There you go. You see her little glass slippers? "You'll have only till midnight," the fairy godmother said. "At the stroke of 12, the spell will be broken and everything will be as it was before." Cinderella promised to leave the ball on time. Then, under a shower of magical sparkles, she stepped into her coach and was swept away to the palace. There she is. When Cinderella arrived at the palace, the prince was yawning with boredom. Then he caught sight of her. Ignoring everyone else, the prince walked over to Cinderella. He kissed her hand and asked her to dance. They swirled off across the ballroom. There they are, dancing. Do you remember what happens when Cinderella realizes what time it was and that she needed to leave the ball right away because it was nearly midnight? Do you remember what happened? Let's find out. The prince didn't leave Cinderella's side all night. They danced every dance together. As the lights dimmed and the sweet music floated out into the summer night, Cinderella heard the clock begin to chime. Dong, dong, dong. How many dongs would there be at midnight? 12. Can you help me do 12 chimes at midnight? Ready? Dong, 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 dong. Oh, goodness, she gasped. It's midnight. I must. Goodbye. Wait. Come back, called the prince. I don't even know your name. Cinderella hurried down the palace steps. In her haste, she lost one of the glass slippers. But she had no time to pick it up. She leaped into the waiting coach. As soon as the coach went through the gates, the magic spell had broken. Cinderella found herself standing by the side of the road, dressed in her old rags. On one foot, she still wore what? The glass slipper. That didn't change, did it? Her coachman was an old horse again, and her footman was Bruno the dog. Her coach was a hollow pumpkin, and her horses were four of her mouse friends. They sadly looked at Cinderella. Look how sad they look. They all hurried home. They had to be back before the others returned from the ball. The next day, the stepmother told the girls that the Grand Duke was coming to see them. He's hunting for a girl He's been hunting all night for that girl, the one who lost her slipper. That girl must be the prince's bride. Cinderella smiled and hummed a waltz that had been played at the ball. The stepmother became suspicious. She locked Cinderella into her room. She guessed that Cinderella might be that who the prince is interested in. But how would she guess that? Don't know. She just was suspicious. Gus and Jacques had a plan to help Cinderella. While Anastasia and Drizella tried to squeeze their big feet into the little glass slipper, the two mice sneaked into the stepmother's pocket. They got hold of the key, tugged it up the stairs, and unlocked the door. Cinderella rushed down the stairs to try on the glass slipper. "May I try it on?" Cinderella asked. The wicked stepmother fumed. She tripped the footman who was holding the glass slipper. It fell to the floor and broke into 1,000 pieces. "Oh, but you see," Cinderella said, reaching into her other pocket, "I have the other slipper." She put it on, and it fit perfectly. From that moment on, everything was a dream come true. Cinderella went off to the palace with the happy Grand Duke. The prince was overjoyed to see her, and so was the king. Cinderella and the prince were soon married. In her happiness, Cinderella didn't forget about her animal friends. They all moved into the castle with her. Look how happy everybody looks. Even the little birds are happy. What about the her stepfamily, her stepmother and stepsisters? Do we know what happened to them? Let's find out. Everyone in the kingdom was delighted with the prince's new bride, and Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after. Do you think that they were very kind after to the stepmother and stepsisters? Do you think they were kind to them and let them be friends and accepted them as family, or do you think they just left them alone, never to be bothered by them again? I don't know. It didn't say in this story, and you know what? I'm not sure. Different versions have different endings. So, but in this one, we don't know. We just know that Cinderella and the prince lived happily ever after. On Wednesday, we will be reading this version. It's the country version. It's the Wild West version. Cindy Ellen, a Wild Western Cinderella. And on the back, Cinder Bottom, the downtrodden cowgirl. Is it two different stories about two different girls? Or I'll let you figure it out. We'll find out on Wednesday. So come back and find out on Wednesday how it's going to go. All right, let me sing you my goodbye song, my peace song before I go. Are you ready? Let's see if I'm a little better practice than I was last week. My peace is all I've got that I can give to you. My peace is all I've ever had. It's all I ever knew. I give my peace each and every day, although we are apart. My peace I give to you with my whole heart. I do give you my peace today, as always. Have a good rest of your Monday. Have a wonderful Tuesday, and we'll see you back here on Wednesday at noon. Bye-bye.